Well, hello everybody. We are live again on another glorious day in Florida. We're going to have sun all day today, so no rain.
We're having a beautiful fall day here, so like in the 60s.
Fall, what is that?
Mhm. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, and I'm here again with Sarah. We are episode 38, the 38 hour of health chats. I
Everyone
hope
tired of listening to us for 38 hours plus.
well, I've heard that we always have something that is interesting. So, but when we start, we don't really know what we're going to talk about. There may be plans, but it always goes a different direction.
We just roll with whatever comes up.
Yeah, let me post the Zoom link here for anyone who says, "Okay, I have a question. I want to talk."
Yeah, Dave,
There,
Grant, come on and join.
there it is. Isn't it sweet? The same people always showing up for us.
Yep, I love it.
Makes me happy.
I'm very happy.
Makes me look forward to the Thursdays. Yesterday was my husband's birthday, and we wanted to go on a boat trip. And I was thinking about a relaxing boat trip through the mangroves, see the manatees and all that stuff. But for some reason, don't ask me why, I chose for an what are these things now? I forgot the name.
Like the airboats.
Yeah. So
Oh, goodness.
there can only hold, I think, 7 people. We were with 4, and they were like a headset, to for the noise. And I thought I can handle the noise. I mean, a motorcycle rider, Harley rider, I can handle the noise. In truck drive riding, I can handle it. Oh my gosh. I was like, did I get old this fast that I'm like, ugh, I don't like this anymore. But anyway, it was an hour and a half on the water, in the breeze, in the sun, and it was actually good. But I had to put out that noise canceling thing, and still the it wasn't as much fun as I thought it was, like 10-20 years ago.
Yeah. I've
So,
never been on one, but I know they're very loud. And it's not that you can't tolerate it, it's over time. It's kind of like when I'm riding the mower. If I mow my own grass, I never wear ear protection, but when I'm on the mower for like 8 hours, then it does affect my hearing if I don't put anything over my ears. So I just pop on a good book and then put my ear protection over top of that and ride.
yeah, I had a baseball cap, and I thought I had sunburn on my lips twice, really, really bad. That I thought that sore that was there, that was going to put a hole in my lip. But it is amazing how it can heal.
That's great.
And I that happened to me was just before I started with the I was on all raw, I think, already, but not on all fruit. And we already know that when you put less junk in your body just heals faster. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, even with a cut. And I heard Dr. Morse talking about that, like having a cut and barely bleeds and it's healed the next day. I've experienced that too.
I'm
So
experiencing that right now.
yeah. So that's actually, I think it is important to know this, to know that it may be a small difference, but it guides you more to, like, yeah, fruit is meant for us because everything that in our body, there's so much better on it.
It is. And I do have to say that I was just telling Toni before I got on because I was running behind. We're working in the fields. Like, actually, I'm burning brush right now, and my husband's cutting down trees. But yesterday we're cutting this tree down. It had fallen down during the storm, and we're getting all cut up and stacked and everything. And I wasn't paying attention because the tree had like leaves on it and everything too. And as we stacked the very last log, I'm sitting there and we're kind of admiring it, like, we're done. All of a sudden, I look and I'm like, leaves of 3. I'm like, oh my gosh, we had been basically rubbing ourselves with poison ivy for like a few hours. All of a sudden, I'm thinking my face is kind of burning a little bit. So I'm wondering what that was. So we just came in the house and we just showered off and hoped for the best. And so far, neither one of us have anything on us today. So I have no idea if we really got it on us, or do we really catch it, or is it the fruit? Like, I can't scientifically say, but by some miracle, we're both okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
And I have been, especially in the Black Hills in South Dakota, I have been hiking a lot. And, along creeks. And there is a beautiful area that is called Devil's Bathtub. And the first time I came there, that was, back in the early 80s. And they had told me about poison ivy, and I had never heard of it, never seen it, would absolutely still not be able to recognize it. And it's like, sometimes I wonder, if you don't know what it is, would it still hurt you?
Right.
That's a crazy idea, actually.
It is.
Yeah, because that means that if you are afraid that you have been hurt by the poison ivy, then it shows up. But now, what if you have absolutely no clue?
Yeah,
it's a thought.
it is. And while I'm over there burning, there is like a wood pile that somebody else had already made, and I'm kind of pulling it apart. And the whole entire time I'm thinking, like, I wasn't watching for snakes or scared like I usually am, because I just have been trying so hard to take it to heart that, I forget our exact words we said when we were talking about when I was getting in the ocean, about afraid of the fish coming to me and stuff, because they some reason always do. I kept thinking about that with the snakes. And it's almost like, I don't want to jinx myself saying I have no fear reaching in there, because if I do pick up a snake, I have no idea how it's going to go. But it's ever since I've put that in my mindset, I'm having a different mindset, even when I'm walking through the field, picking up stuff, all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I'm still cautious because we could have a chance of copperheads around here, but it's not the same. And the same thing with the spiders. Like, I'm finding them more fascinating, not so much like, I don't want a giant one on me, but when I see little ones on me, I just kind of like shoo them off and stuff now. But it's changing. I don't know.
Yeah, you live more in the country than I do. I barely see any spiders there, but I do know of people that I personally know that have been bitten by a brown recluse. And one of them was actually Marcy, who worked closely with Dr. Morse.
Mm-hmm.
And she lost part of her foot.
Oh, geez.
Because of it. And another friend, he had a wound on his shin that just did not want to close. Now, their diet, Marcy's diet was a lot of fruit, but my other friend's absolutely not. He lives on meat. So it's, and this has been going on for years. It just doesn't heal. Now, sometimes with spiders, you don't see them and you get bitten and you're not even aware of it until you see something. So the idea of being afraid of it and then, the fear would actually make it worse. It doesn't go always that way. I mean, right. that would not even be sensible to just go that route. But often it is like, fear for something can make it worse. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot of people now saying, and this is actually interesting, and I need to dive into that more. There is a mind consciousness and a body consciousness. And I'm like, well, it is in a way, it's one thing. But they say that your mind cannot affect your health. And it's like, well, if that would be the case, then stress would not affect our health. Because isn't stress just, mental? It is like being overwhelmed, not being able to handle things anymore. So you have more stress. Well, it definitely affects your health. I think it is, well, I don't want to really go into percentage, but in my mind, it's like, okay, that's at least 30-40% of your health,
Mhm.
how your mindset is. But and I see more and more people coming up with like, no, it doesn't work that way. And it's like, are we now going back to what doctors were saying, what they were actually saying to me? Is I have never mentioned that, I think, but when I was 22 years old, I was in a bad marriage and stressful. And the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, I decided to leave my husband and the father of my daughter back then, and go to my sister. Now I was eating, even for the idea is now, eating healthy, no meat, dairy or eggs, no alcohol, and I had stopped smoking. And so I was actually in a way doing good. I was still eating bread, and I was still eating, the grains and the beans. And but when I was there with my family, I had sugar, I had whipped cream, I had alcohol, I had all the things that I usually didn't eat anymore and hadn't eaten for, well, probably years. And not too long after that, one morning I woke up and I could barely move. My legs were twice the size. I couldn't stand on it. And I was only in my early 20s. So I was taken to the hospital, and so I was away from the stressful situation. And and I got all these, I think that was the important part. I got all these really painful red swellings on my arms and my legs. And they call that erythema nodosum. Now, this is the Dutch way I would pronounce it, but it means painful red swelling. They have no clue what it is. They have no clue what the causes of it. Of course, we now know, it is what it is causing. Your body is so toxic, and it responds to that. It's so acidic. And that was the response. But after 2 weeks, I walked out of the hospital. I was like, I don't need to be here any longer. And it was getting better, so I could walk again. So I left. I was home 3-4 days, back in that same stressful situation, and I got it again. But now I woke up and I couldn't move an inch. I was paralyzed from the neck down. So body's still acidic, adding again the stress that I was in. And it was like, I couldn't move. Just being paralyzed. So one morning you wake up and you're just paralyzed. And the pain in my arms and legs was so bad, I couldn't even handle a sheet on it. So in the hospital, they put like a metal bow on it and then put the sheet on that so it doesn't, touch your skin. And of course, I was back then, I refused, even back then, I refused all medication because doctors could not tell me what the medication was for. So why would I take it? And their logic was, well, we just want to try it out and see what works. And I was like, if you don't know if it works, I'm not going to take it. So I didn't. And they wanted to remove all my teeth because that could be a cause. And yeah, my teeth were not in a good shape, even back then. Bad kidneys, bad health, very acidic. So your teeth are not doing great. Well, I still managed 50 more years with them, and they're not in a great shape. But that's not, not important now. But important is how your body can react to acidity. And take away the stress, which happened the second time I was in the hospital, 14 days again. I had friends. I didn't even eat the hospital food. I had friends bringing me food. And I felt they couldn't do anything for me. And the paralyzation that went away, it took it day after day. I got a little better. And until I could walk and I left the hospital, I was then told not to come back because they were not going to help me anymore. But I changed the situation. we separated and then divorced, and so my life changed. And I was like, well, you will always have a problem with this, and it can always come back. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And it didn't. I've never had it since then. But that was a terrifying, absolutely terrifying situation. When I was a young mom, and at that time, my daughter was a few years old. She was born when I was 19, and then having a bad marriage, and so much stress. So this is what stress can do, and then the wrong foods, being in a very acidic body. And when I look back now at all the things that I went through, I cannot say happened to me because I made them happen myself. That I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm still here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That would be very terrifying. For sure. I see Juan's joining our call again today. How are you doing, Juan?
Hi. I was having some issues trying to get on the show. Can you see me?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
hi. Yeah. Hi, Toni. Sarah.
Hello.
Yeah, for some reason, well, I'm on my phone right now. I found you, no problem, on my phone. But generally, I'm on my laptop, and I've signed up for like the notifications, and I'm subscribed, but I don't know. It didn't stop me. I'm on. So
Oh no, are we shadow banned?
no, I hope not. I don't know. I doubt that because I'm on right now, right? But I'm on my cell phone, and so yeah, I was just listening to your conversation and about spiders. That's funny because I used to be really afraid of like the black widow spider, and I got this job that entailed having to crawl underneath foundations and stuff. And I had to get over that phobia really quickly because there's a lot of like, black widow spiders under there, and they just look so ominous, and scary looking to me. And then a friend of mine, he looked it up, and he saw that actually nobody has ever died from a black widow spider bite. They've gotten sick and stuff like that, but I don't know, that kind of helped me with my phobia, because they're more afraid of us. We're like a million times bigger than them. But this is kind of neat listening to your story around that. And it also reminded me, like the journey that I'm on right now, as far as coming off of the 14-day water fast. I've done fasting in the past, and I've gotten in great shape and lost weight and everything, and then it's kind of like a roller coaster for me, and I'll go back to eating fast food and stuff like that again, and then gain weight, and that's what was happening when I had that job when I was crawling under houses. I got in this great shape and lost a lot of weight, and then next thing you know, I wasn't fitting in my uniform anymore, and just not feeling well, and the next thing you know, I don't have that job anymore. This has definitely been another one of those journeys where, when I got off the 14-day fast, I got onto the orange juice, and then I was invited to a potluck, but it was a vegan potluck. But I just couldn't resist. I ate cooked food, and the funny thing is after eating the cooked food, the next day I actually felt stiff. I felt sore, and I felt guilty too. But I mean, we're not perfect, right? So I just figure, I'm going to report that. I'm going to report that. Hey, you know what? I kind of, didn't follow my original plan, but, I didn't go way overboard. But I have been, delving in eating cooked. And the funny thing is that I think Charlie calls it God's mercy. I can feel the difference, and So,
I
you know,
look at
that,
them as their confirmations. Like you hear about it, you read about it, and then you really don't know about it until you try for yourself. And this is your journey. So it's your own confirmation. And it's perfectly okay to go on the path that you choose to go on the path, because it is all just a learning experience for you as well.
yeah, exactly. And you know, how would I know? You know, like if I didn't experience it, and you know, like I also I wasn't necessarily doing it for weight loss, but you know, I was watching the scale, and you know, I was dropping 1 to 2 pounds a day, which was pretty cool, you know,
Mhm.
and my pants were fitting really loose, but yeah, I remember mentioning last week about my tongue, you know, and I know Toni, you said that was just like mucus on the tongue. Um, well, that's gone away. I actually don't have that coating on my tongue anymore. It's more pink.
That's
And,
awesome.
yeah, and I've been like brushing, you know, I've been just not wanting that coating on my tongue, and it just went away. And the funny thing is I don't have mucus, whereas when I was fasting, I was getting mucus. You know, I was spitting up a lot of mucus, and so I really feel good. I think that's what it's all about. It's really, you know, how you feel. And I'll have to say, yeah, I have put back on some of the weight, but I weighed this morning, and just sleeping, I dropped 3 pounds. So I was like, okay, that's going the right direction again.
Why is it men can lose weight so quickly?
Well, women can too. I mean, as you know, it's my lifelong issue with weight gain and weight loss, and yo-yoing until I was like, no more, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore when I was in my 50s. And I had like, okay, it is what it is. And we'll just leave it at that. And then I got on the all raw and mostly fruit, and it was just flying off. But it still means that if I'm not on 100% fruit, I gain it back just as easily. So that just tells you your body is not healed yet, and it takes time. Eventually, you know, we get there. And Jason one some just mentioned something about not having any more mucus. When you're detoxing and the mucus comes out, that is exactly what needs to happen. Now, when you keep detoxing and at a point you no more mucus is coming out, then you can say, okay, I'm clean now. For you not having to have mucus coming out right now is because you stopped it by stopping the all fruit and eating other stuff. Now, what happens to me if I eat anything that I shouldn't eat, then I get extra mucus forming. And so that can happen too, especially when it's spicy food. Your body tells you right away that it's not, no, 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 this is not really meant for you. So yeah, the cooked food can stop that the mucus is coming out. So be aware of that. And of course, feeling good is always a part of it. Just, you know, realize what you're doing. If you get to a point that well, you already had it, that you didn't feel as great with a cooked meal, you know what it is? When you know that you're going to eat something that is not really on your list and not really in your, not really part of your plan, but it will happen anyway, my gosh, enjoy it to the fullest and do not feel guilty about it.
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. You know, because I can tend to beat myself up around, you know, the things sometimes that you say, you know, like if you blow it, you know, like for myself, I kind of thought, hey, I just want to report everything's all great, but you know, I think it's also good to say, you know, when things aren't, you know, perfect, you know, it I think it helps other people to be able to see that, we're all human.
Yeah, and we all go through the same things, but it is learning how your body responds to what you do is so important, because that means that this is the way that you can be in control. You know what you're doing, you know what happens. You cannot blame anybody else for it. You do not need to go to a doctor. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a pain here, or I'm bloated, or I have this. It's like, no, this is what you did. And be aware of it. Write it if you need to. Write it down. Get in touch with your body, with how it works. It is part of moving forward. It's part of your journey. It's learning how everything, yeah, how you respond to things, and that can even be, you have a beautiful day. Even with yesterday, I did not eat. No, I have to say it. Yesterday, I ate something I shouldn't, but I enjoyed it. So I felt great, and today I still feel great. So sometimes it can happen. It was a beautiful day, and yeah, if you are in a circumstances that you are with friends and you have a beautiful meeting and you would eat something that you didn't plan on, my gosh, join everything that is around it. Just don't do it every day.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I always think about, Bruce Lipton and, his book, the biology of belief. And, when we feel and when we talk and our internal dialogue with ourselves, our cells respond to that, and so like you were saying, Toni, yeah, be joyful and happy, and realize that I'm enjoying myself. I'm going to enjoy myself. And the thing is like you were saying, it's how you feel too. And the funny thing is about it was still not like a meat, dairy, or eggs. I had some chips and some hummus, and then they had made some kind of a potato waffle. And then once I was tasting that, it was like, oh, here, take a taste of this, and that's like, oh yeah, that tastes like more. So, yeah.
Well, I have a tip for when you go to and I have been doing that, to going to potlucks, and this was like potlucks where they have no idea that they are frugivores, and it's all cooked, and everything comes out of a package or a jar, and but that is how these potlucks can be in these communities. So what I did was making a salad the way I would eat it. And you know what? That salad was always gone. It was always so. That is what I bring. I bring to a potluck what I would eat, without explaining, without telling them about anything that I do or how I eat. It is just, this is my dish, and this is what. No, it's not even saying this is what I eat. It is just, and people try it, and that can be fruit. You can make most amazing creations with fruit, and or it is a beautiful salad. So that is and people, and then sometimes people are, oh, how did you make it, and what is all in it, and I like it, and yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say on 9/11, I planted a pig a fig tree out in my front yard. I don't know if I had mentioned that or not last week, but and then I see something, Sarah, that you post like raw figs. Is fig? I like figs. But is that like a really good superfood or something? What is the raw figs website or something? I haven't
That,
gone to it.
yeah, I don't know who actually put it together, Toni, but you can go to rawfigs.com and pretty much just type in something like cold sores or anything like that, and it'll bring up all of the timestamp areas of Dr. Morse's videos, and you can watch those videos where he talks about cold sores per se. Or if you want to look up fasting, type in the word fasting in rawfigs.com and it'll bring up his videos where he discusses fasting. So it's a wealth of information, but I actually haven't read to see who put that website together. Do you know, Toni?
No, I forgot the name. It's not somebody in the United States, and they did an amazing job, but it has not been updated for the last 3-4 years, 5 years even. But you see, Dr. Morse has been making these videos for 11 years already.
Mm-hmm.
So there were more than 1,000 videos. Many already have been removed from YouTube. So sometimes you will see that a video where he's referring to is no longer available.
Mm-hmm. Name is
yeah.
Vlad, and
Yeah.
the timestamps are by Nicholas Brandon, is what it says.
And Nicholas Brandon is actually who is also working with Dr. Morse, I think, because he is doing, I think they work on the drmorse.tv, and because the name sounds familiar to me, and also on the other one, grapegate.com, which has a ton of information too.
Mm-hmm.
For practitioners, for everybody has access. There's nothing is behind a membership thing. Everything, there's access to everything. So it is, Raw Fix and Grapegate. So they have a lot of information. And I did an 2 years ago, a year ago, I had somebody who helped me with splitting up the long videos by topic. So on my channel, it seemed, there are a lot of our videos on there that we are doing right now, but there are also a lot of Dr. Morse videos, and we did the most important topics the most times, that, about cancer, but it's also about how to take eye pictures in that it works. And let me mention that if you use that little free app on your phone, IECOS, EYECOS, you can get great eye pictures also. And you can use them for yourself, or you can have an eye reading done. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So there are more topics about prostate cancer, breast cancer, about liver, about kidneys, about fasting, and those are on my channel. And the person in the UK who was doing that for me, he did not have any time anymore, because I would love to tackle more of Dr. Morse's videos and put them in, small sound bites. And with the more updated ones.
Oh, so then rawfigs.com is not necessarily pertaining just to figs. It's just
no, it has nothing to do with figs. It's a search engine. It's a search engine for Dr. Morse's videos. And actually you can, the person who has other videos on there too. So I would definitely check the box to look only for Dr. Morse's videos, because some of the other information there goes actually a little against Dr. Morse's advice. And I don't like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the potluck that I went to, he's a friend of mine, and we spoke to this last week, about the celery juice. And I mean, he is religiously drinking, celery juice. He buys celery by the case, and I just could not bring it to my heart to tell him, because it's just like he's, about the celery, because I remember you were saying how it was really more like an herb, and
but I would find the book on Amazon, make a copy, a screenshot from the front and the back, and then just tell him, my gosh, I came across this, because the book is full of medical information, but also all the research that has been done over the years. And if somebody, here we come to an important aspect actually of what we need to do. as knowing, we get to a point, we know the truth, we know what's going on. Should we tell somebody or should we not? Because they believe in it so much. You have to kind of plant a seed and, and then let it go. Show him the book and, see what I came across. I mean, this is all about celery juice. And have no opinion. Don't tell him, oh, it's bad or you shouldn't do it. Nothing like that. Planting a seed is just with love, and otherwise it won't, it won't stick anyway, because people will fight against it because they believe so strongly in it. But you give the information out, and that goes for a lot of things with truth, that we learn more. Many of us are, know Charlie and Justin and Eugene, and there's a lot of truth coming out that people are not aware of. And it is like, well, because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, should we not say anything? I think we should. And that is where, carefully planting a seed. I had to do that with my family. They chose not to, not to do anything with it. But I would feel bad if I had not shared the information that I have. And there is another thing that I do need to get out, because I have one of my health issues. I had I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. It is a gadolinium toxicity. I think many of us, most of us probably in their lives had a CAT scan. And what they do with that is research, for heart issues, how your arteries are. They use a dye. That dye is so extremely toxic, and people do not know about it. I know of people who have a CAT scan done because of some ongoing health issues, and they have it done every 6 months. So they are adding toxicity, really bad chemicals, to their brain and their body and their brain every 6 months. For me, I had that one time happening 9 years ago now. It took me years to detox it out, and it did not happen until I got on all fruit. Before that, it stayed in my body, it was lingering, and it was like, and when I woke up back then from that, because they put you under, you get some kind of light anesthesia. When I woke up, I was like, something changed in my brain. And this is something that I really, people need to be aware of what they're doing. We always talk about food and what it does to our body and what pharmaceuticals do, but many people, we all have family and friends, and they get this constantly done and they are not aware of it. And I found something that was written by Wendy Myers online, only her solutions to get it out of your body are not what I would do. She says she is a detox expert and functional diagnostic nutritionist. Her methods are adding other isolated chemistry to the body that we don't need, like fulvic acid, which is a plant food. And we cannot bypass nature. I mean, that is food that is for the plant. We consume the plants. And there's no shortcuts here. And for me, I can say that there is, with the detoxification of that gadolinium dye out of my body, was all fruit. And Dr. Morse actually has a formula that is called Chem Metal Detox. I had been using that too, but I have to say that I did not use the first any formulas the first 7 months of my journey on this way of eating. So, and the magic for me with my brain in getting that toxic out already happened on all fruits.
That's amazing. What about seaweed, stuff like that? Because seaweed within the sea, which I already know, like it's in the sea, how would we really get it and stuff like that naturally? But seaweed is known for gathering toxins out of the sea and it never releases it again.
Yeah, it's I don't think that the truth is completely out on that. I think you have to try and see what works. I see the difference with all fruit, and I like dulse. Sometimes, you know, just put some in some hot water, dulse flakes, for a little salty taste. It helps. It helps with the thyroid. But yeah, and then there is sea moss that people take. But the thing is, if you want to be 100% vegan and all that stuff, there's always what is it, marine life in it.
Yes.
It's like, if you really want to get away from that, and it's, then don't consume it. Are we supposed to consume it? I mean, even Dr. Morse, he calls many of that stuff pond scum.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Going back again to what I had been doing before I met Dr. Morse, the spirulina, what else is there? Spirulina was a big thing, and there was one other one. I took that religiously for years, day in, day out. It did not make a difference whatsoever. But at that time, I was also still eating cooked food. So should it have helped? Because when I was still eating the wrong foods for me, or would it be helping now when I'm on all fruit, or at least all raw? Would the spirulina have more effect? And I keep coming back to the diet. Don't put in any junk that not supposed to be there. And I don't know, I still have jars full of spirulina.
That was one that I never did try. I always thought about it. And there was another green one that I can't remember what it was called, but I never purchased it. So yeah, no, I 100% agree. The fruit is the way to go. That should always be your first step, is the fruit. And then after that, that's why I was asking, but I don't have the research on that. And like you said, there sure probably is the marine life that is in it or hurt somehow with the gathering of it as well too. And if we were supposed to have it, it would probably be available to us.
Yeah, it would be easier for us now. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, there are so many gimmicks out there and fats in what you need to eat. I mean, there are people that pretty much live on apple cider vinegar because they think it's good, and I'm like, okay, why not replace the apple cider vinegar then with lemon? You know, instead of having the apple cider vinegar every day in your water, why not put a lemon in your water?
Well, do you want to pickle your insides? I mean,
yeah, and we talk about the fermentation. Now, with fermentation, it is like, fermentation means that it's going to be alcohol. And what does alcohol do in your body? It messes up your liver. And I think when we explain it that way, because when I say, well, you get fermentation in the body, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, that would be the same as they told me many years ago, yeah, you have bad kidneys through iridology, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we need to know the whys and what we can do about it.
Yep. There was something else I wanted to say, but Grant has in the comments over here about that a lot of us can't stand the smell of cooked meats anymore. But my question would be, is it really the burning, singeing flesh scent that you miss? Or is it the spices and the seasonings and the marinades that you're enjoying? Because the smell of burnt flesh is definitely not something that will make anyone hungry.
No, because burned flesh, that smells awful, and it is masked by all the condiments we put on it. And yeah, that smells good. Although I have to say, when I drive by a restaurant and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
If I go to a raw food restaurant, it's the first thing is the fresh air inside.
hmm It actually, when people do our cooking now, especially if it's in someone's home, it hurts the area between my eyes. Like it burns. And I can't, I feel really bad, like saying like, well, I can't, but most people know me and I am who I am. You're either my friend or you're not my friend. And, they just, they accept me for who I am because I won't waver at all. And, I just tell them how it is. And I know some people sneak stuff in and some people lie, some people find it funny, but it's okay. My body will pass it. And, I know who I am and where I stand. So I will just say, like, if you're going to be cooking, please continue to do so, but I'm going to either go outside or I'll hang out here on the deck, or I'll at least go in the other room or something like that. And, if they don't like it, then they're not truly my friend anyway, and I shouldn't be there in the first place then. But most of them understand, and like I said, if they don't, then it is what it is. The other thing I wanted to say too, while we were talking about that, I had already told Toni this, but I want to tell everyone else. So my mom has this issue going on where she has this part that's just not healing, no matter what we do. Toni did tell me about we ordered some of the calendula salve, which did come in, and is it Manuka honey? And
Yes.
so we do have all that. But the one thing she told me too is that the pawpaw tree or a papaya flesh will help to cure this. And that's what they have used on animals to help cure it. Well, last year when we were working in our pasture, we came upon this little tree with these fruits on it, and they'd fallen to the ground. And we had no idea what this tree was. And lo and behold, it was a pawpaw tree. I have never in my life heard of this fruit. And now here it's growing in an area, and it turns out we need it. So as Toni has said in the past, things will just start growing in your yard as you need it. God will provide for us. And now we have at least 4 of these trees in the pasture that have grown wild. Nobody has planted them. This is a wild area and we need them. So I found that to be just so fascinating, and it like tickled me to even see it and know what it really was.
It is magical, and it made me so happy to hear that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Grant, when I hear about Cajun cooking, I have to say the only thing that comes to mind is like shrimp boil and the crawdads. That's the only thing I think about with Cajun cooking when I think about it. But I have been down to Louisiana twice now, and I do love the area. And some people may think it's strange, but I love being around like the bayous and that real hot, steamy, sticky time of year. I don't know. I love it. But that is what I think about when I think about Cajun foods.
For me, it's the spices.
Mm-hmm.
I love the spices. I haven't had it in a very, very long time. And I have been in Louisiana many times, in the bayous too, and boat tours, and amazing. I absolutely love it there. The music, especially the music.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it smells. There's another thing that I've always been rather sensitive to was perfume or cologne, which is the worst. And I loved my little bottles of perfume. I was flying a lot, and you could buy them, these expensive things, for reasonable prices at the flight. And I think I still have these bottles hidden somewhere in a drawer far, far away. I cannot stand it anymore. And it's like, and that is the beauty when you are on all fruit, you don't need it. And I have a friend, and she really tries to get more on fruit, but she loves her perfume. She is like, I just have to have it. I love the smell. And I can't stand it anymore. I'm choking up even. It's like my body is so refusing it.
Yeah, I can't. And I do remember, it takes me back to a memory. I remember being in the grocery store with my mom as a little kid, and I can remember being underneath the grocery cart riding around, and she'd go down the laundry soap aisle, and I would start fussing, and she would, of course, scold me because I'm an older child, and that's when they were allowed to do that back in the day. And she'd say, "Knock that off. It doesn't smell that bad, blah, blah, blah." And come to find out, I was even sensitive about it back then. But I was told, "Nope, no, you're not. Stop it. Quit acting that way."
Yeah, we don't, that is another thing. We don't take that seriously with our kids, As a kid, you respond to something and it's like what your mom then said, knock it off. Or with us is like, no, there's no problem with it. I remember my daughter not wanting to eat certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And as a mom, it's like, well, you have to try it. Gosh.
Yep. And I mean, my mom gardened, she cooked everything from scratch that she could, and she was a fantastic mom, but it was what she was brainwashed into thinking as well. And it's the same that we've all passed on generation to generation.
Yep.
We just are brainwashed. And Juan, what I was going to say too to you is it's all about the delivery on how you help your friend. But it is very important we do get the truth out, because you have been brought to that person and that person has shown you this for certain reasons. And it can be just kind of like a discussion or anything like that. And, we've all been gung-ho about something else, and then we learn a different way. I mean, hence we're all here. And all of us thought that supplements and all kinds of stuff was the correct way to be before. And now here we all are too, but it's only because people have shown us a different light. So it's all about presentation, and you can kind of like spoon feed it a little bit at a time. And then just, he doesn't have to stop cold turkey, but maybe just start introducing a little bit more of the grapes too.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually was, contemplating that, especially after what Toni said, was just introduce it, as something that I discovered without being opinionated around it. Taking the photo of the front and the back of this particular book, which I that was last week, and I think you actually posted it in the comments of the chat, that particular book. But yeah. That's kind of been weighing on me too, because he's young. He's like 27, and he's real lean and in great shape, and he's doing all these particular type of conditioning exercises, and but he's not putting on the muscle that he wants. He really wants to look more muscular. And I don't know whether or not it has anything to do with him just religiously drinking celery juice, like a lot of it. He just swears by it. And the medical medium is like his guru. And so I really appreciate the way that you are, giving me advice around that, because it's so funny. It does kind of make me feel like I almost have an obligation or a responsibility or something when I find out something, even if it goes against what somebody else is, believing.
When we know better, we have to do better, as Charlie and Colleen always say. And even there's some people out there though that it has to be their idea or their way of finding it. So sometimes just sending people an article and letting them read it themselves or watch a video about it, then it becomes their idea, and it's easier for them to change as well too. And everyone has free will, and it's very hard. I'm going through something that's very, very difficult within my family right now. And free will is very hard to sit and watch. And it's not just about like the food or the stuff that we do. It's the choices that people make, especially some of the younger people that you have in your family. And all we can do is just let people know that we're here and we will help them in any way we can. But doing everything delicately and allowing people to continue their journey as they see fit to do so in this life. So, and I mean, if he's 27 years old, your friend, I mean, can we all remember back to 27? Didn't we all feel great? And I know my diet definitely was nothing like it is now. But how just resilient our bodies are, especially when we're young.
I see something interesting that Grant just said. There are not a lot of frugivores here. Well, the truth is, you are surrounded by frugivores everywhere, but there are very few fruitarians because we're all frugivores.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe we could just, I don't know, go pick stuff off the trees if there's anything growing.
Now, Toni, you are strictly just eating fruit, no lettuce or vegetables or anything, or?
Well, I'm not really a fan of salads. I used to make cold soups, and cold soup was nothing more than put the whole salad in the blender, and then I had cold soups. added some lemon to it. But when I behave, I have to say that when I behave, yes, then I am fruit only. It's the easiest, and I don't think much about creating foods anymore. It's just other than making a juice or a smoothie, and I just grab the fruit. So everything no, I cannot say everything in my life is about fruit, but when I go shopping, that is what I buy. It is like the fruit that smells good, tastes good, and that's it. I'm not much about salads. My husband does eat salads every day, though. And it's just the lettuce, the leafy greens, some spinach, tomato, and that's pretty much it. And lemon.
Yeah. Well, I'm eating salads, and I heard you speaking about, the smells of, like, well, the spices that you add to meats and things are really what we're smelling are in foods. And I do add spices to my salad. Now, what's your take on these spices? That's okay for our bodies, the spices?
Well, a lot of the spices are irritants, and you have to be careful with that. I use basil and I use dill. I like that, but I also use some curry powder now and then. But it's still those curry powder, all this, when we talk about spices, those are actually irritants to the body. But you have to see how you're doing it, and don't overdo it. It's not really a natural thing, but yeah, I can see when you want to, make a little change. There is one herb. Well, it's actually called Italian herbs. It's a combination of a whole bunch of kitchen herbs. And they taste pretty good. And then I add dulse for a little of the salty taste. And with, with the celery, let's come back to that celery. It is not that you cannot eat it at all, but eating it daily with one or even two bunches instead of just one stalk that you can use in your salad, that's a big difference. And that celery, when your friend is not, bulking up muscles you only get muscles not because of proteins, but because you exercise, you do something with it. But some people, they say that, oh, but they are so healthy. But if he cannot build muscles when he is exercising, it means he's not that healthy. He may have to clean out his gut, and maybe his GI tract is already damaged because of all the celery. I mean, it is not natural to eat that much of an herb or even a veggie. It is very high in you get the fiber out when you juice it, so that is at least one thing. But it's a lot of salt also. Because actually, the green salt that people are now talking about, what you hear more and more, is nothing more than dried celery, and you use that as a salt. It's extremely expensive, by the way. Sorry, I have used it too, just to try it out. But to me, it had barely any taste, so I didn't think it was interesting.
And I'm very strong. Like I'm pretty strong for, I guess, especially a woman, but I don't look like I'm strong. But like, my hands are strong, my forearms, my body, everything's strong. And it's, I work outside all the time. Like I don't have a job outside, but I've said a million times, like we have horse and pasture and we were cutting up trees today and everything. So it is just that building of muscle and repetitive work and doing things like that. And I take no protein in, like zero. Like I haven't had protein and I can't even tell you how long. I don't. So, and I know I build muscle, and my husband's very strong, but he does take in protein though still, like I've said before, but he does a lot on his fruit. And the other day we were working, we were mowing the pasture and everything. We didn't even actually have dinner until after 9 o'clock at night, and both of us had only worked that whole day on orange juice. And even when it came time, he said, "Are you hungry? Can you wait a little bit longer?" And I said, "Well, I'll wait longer." And so we both waited, and then we still, that night we did have salads, and then I did have sweet potato. And then he had whatever, I can't remember what he had, but yeah, so it is amazing on how you can build muscle. And that, I mean, look at Josh and his wife too, but I don't have enough research or anything like that, but I know that Josh X and his wife, they started out with very clean bodies. So before he got back into any kind of bodybuilding, I don't know what kind of effects, because building muscle and stuff can be acidic to your body. So if your body is already clean and they are very alkaline and they're staying on the fruits, is that the best route to go? And if I had to just guess right now, I would say yes. I think people who already are eating the meat diets and already are full of acid, and then they're hitting the gym on top of that, building more acid within your muscles, I'd have to say that's probably not very smart to go. I think you should clean your body first and get into this lifestyle and be that way, and then go ahead and work on it. But I'm very firm on go for walks. If you can swim in a non-chlorinated pool, those are great exercises. Of course, stretching and yoga, but help your neighbor, work in your own yard, or go clean up a creek or clean up the rivers, and just be out moving and in the sunlight and stuff is the best things you can do. It's good for your spirit and it's good for your body.
Yeah, we don't need to be that extreme muscled with a six pack, but it can come natural. If you look at Eli Martyr, I mean, he's a stuntman and 100% fruit. He's a fruitarian, and he looks amazing, and he can do it on all fruits.
He can.
Now, he is not super muscular, and like what Grant asked, from what I understand, muscle comes from amino acids. Fruit is amino acids. So amino acids are the building blocks. Is it specifically for muscles? I don't know where that comes from. It is the idea about you need proteins to build your muscles. It has nothing to do with it. In proteins, you cannot even, the body cannot even use them as it is. It's just a crazy thought. But fruit is that has the amino acids that we need.
Yep.
Have you heard of that the movie The Game Changers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, there's bodybuilders. I believe the strongest man in the world, at least he was the winner of that competition, is vegan. And so I really think that, what we've been engineered or kind of programmed to think, a lot of it probably has to do with commercialization and consumerism and whatnot, selling products, that we should look, a certain way, and I know that Charlie's explained about it's not so much about that muscle mass. It's more about the sinew. That's where our strength comes from. And we would look more like, out in the jungle or wherever we would be thriving. We would be, thin and agile, and we would look different. We wouldn't look like, well, what we have this impression of what we see in magazines or on television, what, a man and a woman's body should look like. We would be very lean, more than likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nimble and lean and light on our feet. And coming from like a military kind of background, most of your operators or stuff like that are going to be these, I'm going to say men, but I'm sure they can be women too. But from my experience, the men are somewhere between like 5'6" and 5'10". They're probably 160 to up somewhere close to 200 pounds, just depending. But you can't even tell they're strong, and they have this endurance to them. And I've always visualized that's kind of like we're not supposed to look like bodybuilders, because we're made for endurance and being able to walk long distances and stuff like that. To carry around all that heavy meatiness within our bodies and muscle, that can take a lot, like on your knees and your back and stuff like that too. Are we supposed to do that? I go back and forth too, like especially in the horse world, people always are showing me videos of horses jumping and doing all these amazing things just because they can. Are we supposed to do that with them? And I always come back to the answer of being no. So, but again, it's your journey. We all have free will. And if you want to see how big you can make your body, you're more than welcome to do that. I just don't know what the long-term effects are for all that.
Yeah, I know. I heard Charlie mention that, we're trying to reduce acidity in our bodies, and that when we're pushing, like weightlifting and whatnot, pushing to that burn is acid. Mm-hmm. And that may not necessarily be what we want to be forming in our body anyway.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Especially if you already are acidic. And that's why I was saying Josh X and his wife, are they acidic? Most likely not. So if they are doing anything like that, is their body easily recovering from that little bit of acid? But if you're already at a level 7 out of 10 full of acid, and now you go and you start doing all that burn, now you're pushing 8 and 9. Is that really good for your body? But if your acidity is low and you're putting a little bit in and then your body recovers from it, you're most likely not going to see any harmful effects, at least right away. But I don't have any of that research on that. So I've said before too, I'm not a fan of going to the gym or anything like that. So I've not really focused any of my research on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just been using some 25-pound dumbbells and just doing some basic, exercises, but I don't go to the point of a burn. I just feel like my muscles pumped up, and I'm good with that. Yeah. Because I'm not necessarily wanting to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, we're about to put up 100 bales of hay this weekend, so I'm sure I'll be feeling some kind of burn somewhere.
Yeah, wow, that's natural. That's real work. Yeah, that's how you do it. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't look forward to this time of year. I mean, it is only 100 bales, but still, it sucks. But
only, huh?
Yeah, there's people that do like a lot. I mean, I only have one horse, so there's a lot of people that do a lot more than that.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say we're way past the hour again at 1:11.
Okay. Yes. Oh, it's so easy.
It is.
Yeah, and as usually we can keep chatting away about anything and everything, but we'll keep the rest for next week. And I want to thank everyone for being here again with us. I appreciate it very, very much. And yeah, we always keep learning. I mean, that is just the beauty of life. Every day there is something new, and something new to embrace. I think that is important too. We love and embracing the beauty that we get to experience. And
Yeah.
thank you, Sarah, again for filling in some gaps for me. So, and explaining things. I love you.
Well, I'm
Thank you.
very much love to you too. And thank you so much for everything you bring. And Juan, thanks for being on the show again. And everyone in the chat, we love you all so much. Have a great week ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Love you. See you next week.
Thanks everybody for being here, and we love you. Until the next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.